What's up, everybody? It's Renee, and you are tuned into the All Season Lounge podcast, where we talk about life, sports, and everything in between each season. In today's episode, we'll be diving into the question, how well are you adapting to aging? So let's talk about it. Short answer, still figuring it out day by day. I think this is one of those topics that most of us just don't want to talk about. I don't know if it's because we just don't want to face the reality. We think if we don't talk about it, maybe that process will be slower. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like in my circle, when we talk about aging, it's something that we just brush over, right? We never really dive into it. So today we're going to dive into it a little deep here. Adapting to age. Looking at as we age, it seems like our purpose, our identity changes a little bit, right? When you're younger, you don't have all these responsibilities. You're free to just be you, be yourself, right? You go into that teenage stage. And then with that adolescent stage, your perception of yourself, a lot of times it changes, right? Is it reflective of those around you, those things that you're exposed to? You're still trying to figure it out. It's like, you're in that situation to where you think you know who you are, but then on the other end, maybe you don't know. You're still, trying to adapt to aging. And then adulthood comes, young adulthood. Young adulthood, it seems like we just know it all. Everything that our life experiences we've had up until that point, we just think we know it all. We're 21. We don't have to listen to our parents anymore. We can live our best lives. And then you get out there, and whether you're in school, you go right to working, whatever it is, you start to figure out, okay, it's fun to have more responsibilities. Or is it, right? More responsibilities, more money you have to spend. The more money you have to spend, more you might have to work. And then it's like, okay, you're progressing through your 20s. At the age of 25, that's when the brain is fully developed, right? At 25, we still have not figured things out in life. We're still going through trial and error. But then 20s continue to pass on. And at some point, maybe the end of the 20s, beginning of the 30s, it seems like wisdom starts to be acquired because you've experienced so much. Now, are you completely wise and done with all your foolish ways? Of course not. That's just life. So, as you're progressing through end of your 20s, at this point, most have figured out career wise what they're going to do. Some have even started families. So, as you're aging, your purpose is starting to change because it's no longer just about you anymore. It's not that young, live my life, free self. As you age, your mindset changes, your responsibilities change. The ages go on, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and so on and so forth. It seems like redefining your purpose and identity for me personally, it doesn't seem as easy as it was when I was younger, when I was a teen. It seems like the older I get, the more time it takes for me to even realize, hey, I might need to, change things up. I know my purpose has changed, but as far as my identity and how I view myself and how I address things and handle things. So, in that aspect, definitely still figuring it out day by day. Next, how are you maintaining social connections? So, with aging, going back as a child, social connections, that was meeting up at the grandparents' house every Sunday. That was at school, hanging out and talking with friends. The older you get, maybe that hanging out is now no longer at school or in your neighborhood. Maybe it's now going to the mall, going to the movies, going around the neighborhood, riding bikes, playing and doing things like that. College life. You're living on campus in the dorms. Maybe that's socializing on campus. If you're a commuter, maybe it's still meeting up on campus, going off Then you go into your career stage. So now socializing, what does that look like? Is it the new friends that you now have, your coworkers, hanging out at work, after work? It seems like the older we get, the social connection and the advancement in technology, right? It changes the way it looks, the way it sounds. But the biggest thing that I'm noticing as I age is that when I was younger, it was very easy and it was a top priority to make sure I kept those social connections with friends and family. As I get older, those who are not my immediate family members, I don't feel like my social connection is as strong as it was growing up, right? Because of priorities. Priorities. When I am attempting to link up with friends, I gotta now check my calendar and say, all right, I'm gonna check my calendar. You check your calendar. You check your calendar. We're all gonna come back and hopefully we can figure out a day that works for everybody or a time that works for everybody. Even families. Being younger, our families linked up every week. Now that I am grown and I have a family, linking up every week, it seems like it's impossible. Even monthly, it seems like it's hard, because it's always, again, a scheduling conflict. There's so much going on. And so, social connection for a lot of us, I think, is becoming social media. Because I might not be able to meet up with that friend or that cousin this Friday, but I can definitely reach out on social media and send a quick video, a silly video, or send a quick meme, or get on the phone and send a text, or, get on the phone and call. How do you feel that as you age, your social connection is being maintained, or is it not being maintained? So, thinking about it, social connection, or at least maintaining a social connection with those outside of my household, seems to be dependent on technology. Whether it's the text, the calls, the social media, it's really dependent on technology. That's how I've been staying connected. And then in those amazing times where everybody's schedule aligns and we can get together, that's amazing. But for the most part, it seems to be technology. At what point do you stop fighting the aging process and just accept it? I have not reached that stage, so I don't know. I don't know. At what point? I don't even know if there's a number for it. I feel like that might be a mental thing because everybody who's 45, of course, is not thinking the same. Everybody who's 50 is not thinking the same. Everybody who's 55, 60, everybody who's 30, we're not thinking the same, right? So it seems like to stop fighting against that aging process and just accept it and all the factors that come with that, from your skin, your hair, your physical and mental capabilities. I think that's an individual thing. Everybody may say something different. And for me personally, I don't know because I am not ready to accept it completely, I would say. There are some aspects that I am trying to accept. However, far from just accepting the process of aging. I would love to hear from you all. How well are you processing aging? Well, that's it for today. Thank you for tuning into the All Season Lounge podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next time.